The day my mother showed up on my doorstep after 9 years, I almost didn't recognize her. For a moment, I thought I was seeing a ghost from another life. A life I had spent nearly a decade trying to forget. My name is Olivia Carter, and 9 years earlier, my family made a choice that shattered my heart forever. They chose their pride over their daughter. It started when I fell in love with Marcus. Marcus wasn't wealthy. He wasn't famous. He wasn't the kind of man my family had always imagined for me. But he was kind. He was honest. And for the first time in my life, I felt completely seen. When Marcus proposed, I thought my parents would eventually accept him. I believed that love would be enough. I was wrong. The night I told them about our engagement remains one of the most painful memories of my life. My father sat silently at the dining table. My mother stared at me as if I had betrayed her. Then came the words that changed everything. "If you marry him," my mother said, "don't expect to be part of this family anymore." I laughed nervously at first. I thought she was angry. I thought she would calm down. But she didn't. Neither did my father. Within weeks, phone calls stopped. Messages went unanswered. Family gatherings happened without invitations. My siblings stopped speaking to me. It felt like I had died while still being alive. The hardest part wasn't losing family. It was realizing how conditional their love had been all along. Marcus stood beside me through every tear-filled night, every holiday, every birthday, every moment when the silence from my family felt unbearable. Together, we built a life from nothing. A small apartment became a house. Long workdays became successful careers. Years of struggle slowly became years of stability. Eventually, we welcomed 2 beautiful children into our lives. And somehow, despite everything my family had done, we found happiness. Then one rainy Tuesday morning, 9 years later, someone knocked on my front door. When I opened it, my heart nearly stopped. It was my mother. Older. Tired. Different. But what I didn't know that day was that she wasn't there to apologize. She wasn't there to make peace. She wasn't there because she missed me. She was there because she wanted something. And what she asked for would change everything. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. My mother stood on the porch holding a worn handbag. The woman who once refused to attend my wedding suddenly looked uncertain, almost nervous. "Can I come in?" she asked quietly. I hesitated. 9 years of silence stood between us. 9 years of missed birthdays. 9 years of ignored phone calls. 9 years of pretending I didn't exist. But against my better judgment, I stepped aside. She entered slowly. Her eyes moved across the family photographs hanging on our walls. Photos of Marcus. Photos of our children. Photos of a life she had chosen not to be part of. For a moment, I thought she might cry. Instead, she sat down and got straight to the point. "Your sister needs help." The words hit me harder than I expected. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I miss you." Not, "How have you been?" "Your sister needs help." I almost laughed. After nearly a decade, that was her opening line. "What kind of help?" I asked. My mother's shoulders sank. My younger sister, Emily, had accumulated enormous debt after a failed business venture. Creditors were demanding payment. Her house was at risk. Everything was falling apart. "And you want me to help?" I asked. My mother nodded. "You've done well for yourself." The room became painfully quiet. Suddenly, I understood why she was there. She hadn't come because she loved me. She had come because she needed me. For years, my family believed my marriage would destroy my future. Instead, Marcus and I had built something successful together. We owned a thriving consulting company. We lived comfortably. Everything they predicted would fail had succeeded. My mother looked around the room again. "You've done better than we expected." The sentence stung. Better than we expected. As if they had spent years waiting for me to fail. I felt anger rising inside me. Years of buried pain resurfaced all at once. The wedding they skipped. The grandchildren they never met. The holidays spent crying. The countless times I reached out and received nothing in return. Where was this family when I needed one? I asked softly. My mother's eyes dropped. She had no answer. Because there wasn't one. For the first time in years, she was facing the consequences of choices she had spent years avoiding. And yet, despite everything, part of me still wanted answers. Why had they abandoned me so easily? Why had love been replaced by rejection? Why had my happiness threatened them so much? Then my mother finally said something unexpected. "We thought you would come back." I stared at her. "What?" "We thought your marriage wouldn't last. We thought eventually you'd realize we were right." The honesty was devastating. For 9 years, they weren't waiting for reconciliation. They were waiting for failure. But what they didn't know was that their return would force them to confront a truth they had avoided for nearly a decade. That evening, Marcus came home and found me sitting quietly on the back porch. I told him everything. Every word. Every request. Every painful truth. When I finished, he simply held my hand. The same way he had done for 9 years. The same way he had done when my family disappeared. The next morning, I invited my mother back. She arrived hopeful. Almost confident. I think she believed I would immediately solve Emily's problems. Instead, I sat her down at our kitchen table. And I told her the truth. I won't give money to people who only remember I exist when they need something. The words were calm. But they carried years of heartbreak behind them. My mother's face fell. For the first time, she seemed to understand the depth of the damage. Then I continued. If Emily needs financial advice, I'll help. If she needs guidance rebuilding her business, I'll help. But I won't buy forgiveness. Tears filled my mother's eyes. And suddenly, the strong woman who once disowned me looked fragile. "I made mistakes," she whispered. I nodded. "You did." The silence that followed felt different. Not angry. Not bitter. Honest. For the first time in nearly a decade, neither of us was pretending. Weeks later, Emily called me herself. Not to ask for money. Not to make demands. To apologize. A real apology. The first one I had received from my family. Over time, conversations slowly began. Awkward at first. Then genuine. Trust wasn't magically restored. Some wounds take longer to heal. But healing finally became possible. The greatest revenge wasn't refusing to help. It wasn't watching them struggle. It wasn't making them feel the pain they caused me. The greatest revenge was building a beautiful life without their approval. It was proving that their rejection did not define my future. It was showing my children a different kind of love. A love that wasn't conditional. A love that didn't disappear when someone made a choice you didn't understand. Today, when I look at Marcus, I still see the man my family once rejected. The man they believed would ruin my life. Instead, he became the reason my life became stronger. Sometimes people walk away because they think you're making a mistake. Sometimes they abandon you because your choices challenge their beliefs. And sometimes they return only after realizing they were wrong. But true peace doesn't come from making them suffer. It comes from refusing to carry their bitterness any longer. Because love built on conditions isn't really love at all. And the people who truly belong in your life will never ask you to become someone else just to earn their acceptance. In the end, my mother came back begging for help.